It was a Saturday evening. Outside, the air was heavy and still. But inside our living room, tension filled every corner. My wife had just returned from coffee with her ex-boyfriend. I said little when she walked in, but I could feel my chest tighten. There was something in her carefree smile, the way she moved as if nothing mattered, that made my stomach twist. I tried to keep my voice calm. Do you really have to keep seeing him? She turned to me with that playful grin, once a smile that had melted me, now a blade. Then she laughed, short and cruel, cutting straight to my chest. It's funny, she said, voice laced with mockery. You get jealous every time I see him. Maybe it means you're not enough. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Her words hung in the air like poison, squeezing my throat. I wanted to argue, scream, demand respect, but her laughter had already stripped me bare. She leaned back on the couch, scrolling her phone, smirking at my silence. I turned and walked to bedroom, fists clenched, replaying her words in my head. Maybe you're not enough. That night, I lay beside her, sleep impossible. My mind drifted to our early days, how she had admired my strength, how she had said I was the only man who made her feel safe. Now, she was comparing me to her past, and I was losing. I realized I had given her too much power, and she had grown bold enough to humiliate me in my own home. The next morning, I acted normal. I made breakfast, spoke softly, smiled when she mentioned meeting her ex again, but inside, a fire burned. I wouldn't confront her in anger. I wouldn't beg her to stay. I would teach her a lesson she'd never forget. Over the next week, I changed my routine. I stopped waiting for her texts, stopped asking about her plans. I went out more, spent time at the gym, reconnected with old friends I'd neglected. She noticed, of course. One evening, she asked why I hadn't been home when she called. I shrugged. I had better things to do, I said. Her smirk began to fade. She started checking my phone, pretending it was casual. I caught her staring at me while I dressed for a dinner with colleagues. Who's going to be there? She asked, voice sharper than usual. I smiled politely. Does it matter? You don't seem to care what I do. By the second week, she grew restless. She canceled her meetups with her ex and tried to make plans with me. But I was no longer eager. I didn't refuse her, but I didn't chase her either. The balance had shifted, and she felt it. That's when I put my plan into motion. Our wedding anniversary was approaching, and she had been bragging to friends about how I always spoiled her with gifts and dinners. This year, I told her I had planned a special surprise dinner at an upscale restaurant. She was thrilled, glowing like a bride again, telling everyone to expect pictures of the night. On the evening of our anniversary, she dressed beautifully, expecting romance. I drove her to the restaurant, and the moment we walked in, she froze. Sitting at our reserved table were her closest friends, her parents, and even her ex, whom I had personally invited. Confusion spread across her face. Before she could speak, I stood, glass raised. Everyone, I said, voice steady. Thank you for coming. Tonight isn't just about celebrating our marriage. It's about honesty. My wife once laughed in my face and said maybe I wasn't enough. She thought humiliating me was funny, but I wanted all of you here so she can explain why she still meets her ex and mocks her husband's love. The room fell silent. Her face went pale, eyes wide. She stammered, denying, but whispers had already started. Her parents looked horrified. Friends stared with disgust. Her ex shifted uncomfortably. I didn't let her recover. I pulled out a folder of divorce papers and placed it in front of her. You're right, I said coldly. I'm not enough, not for someone like you. But I will be more than enough for someone who values loyalty and respect. Tonight is the last time you laugh at me. She broke down, crying, begging me not to end things like this. But her tears were useless. Everyone had seen her true face. The humiliation she once took pleasure in at my expense now belonged entirely to her. I walked out of the restaurant free, leaving her amidst the ruins of her own pride. For the first time in years, I felt powerful again. She had laughed at me once, but now the world was laughing at her. That was my revenge, not anger, not violence, but exposing the mask she wore, revealing the cruel woman she had become.